What fictional death affected you the most? Arthur Morgan's horse. My first playthrough of the game. My horse was named Moon Moon, because she had a crescent moon-shaped patch of white fur on her head. I've peeping loved Moon Moon. I took such good care of her. Fed her. Kept her clean and brushed. There were a few times where bandits would try to steal her. And once I caught them, I burned them alive as punishment. Even if I killed their partners and they begged for mercy, there was no mercy to be had. I loved Moon Moon. And trying to steal her was not a crime I'd forgive. I was ready for Arthur to die. I knew it was coming. And most likely coming very soon. So I had mentally prepared myself for that. I was not prepared to lose my sweet Moon Moon. Opie and Sons of Anarchy. That Speep was brutal. I know she wasn't a character in the show. But the death of Tig's daughter is also up there on confronting TV deaths. The Girl from Bridge to Terabithia. I was young when it came out and realized I was going to die someday. I read that book on my own right before my teacher decided to read it to the entire class back in elementary school. About halfway through the book, the teacher made it very clear she hadn't read the book yet. I went to her after class and suggested she finish the book on her own. She did. And she thanked me profusely. I can only imagine the Speep show that would have gone down if she wasn't keeping herself together when it happens. Fred Weasley. I went into that book expecting one of the main three to die, raising the stakes further after Dumbly got snaped in book 6. Then no main characters did die. Just a few supporting ones. Between Breaking Bad and Sons of Anarchy there is so many. But Jane in Breaking Bad stands out right now. Walter could have easily saved her. But didn't. And the aftermath with Jesse. And Jane's dad. It was sad as Peep. I remember watching that scene for the first time and being just devastated. Practically screaming at my TV. Help her, you bald Peep. Also, Bryan Cranston has said that was one of, if not the, I don't remember for sure, the hardest scenes Hess ever had to film. His daughter was about the same age. And he said for a moment, when he looked at Kristen, he saw his daughter there instead, and it shook him up really bad. Mice Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It was raining hard that day, Earl too. Gah, it was his daughter at the funeral for me. Painful. Yondu. He was Mary Poppins, y'all. Rita in Dexter. Shook me up good. It was just so unexpected. I thought the TV show was gonna be like just kidding, but the scene kept going. Wash. Still too soon. I am the very model of a scientist Solarian. Have to. Someone else might screw it up. Every playthrough I know it's coming and I'm never ready. Colonel Henry Blake. Hugh Jackman in Logan. Seriously, the only time I've come close to crying in a movie theater. I sat through the whole credits just so I could compose myself. There's no more guns in the valley. Cedric Diggory. I feel like everyone else in HP died in a more heroic way. But Cedric was just a spare. To me, Cedric was the first innocent bystander and probably the most tragic death in the series. Like you said, everybody else fought for what they believed in despite knowing the risks and died heroically. Cedric was just a kid participating in a tournament and enjoying the best years of his life. The end of Rogue One. Shireen Baratheon got. She was so sweet, I just completely broke down when that happened. That hit hard. In fact, I remember watching it and thinking, burning a child at the stake? That's too much. I'm done. Then the next scene had Denis riding a dragon for the first time. I quickly got over myself. Wilson in Castaway. Such a good movie. Have seen it many times. These threads are always so dangerous. Reading. Nodding along. Being all like. Hum. MHHMM. Real sad. Didn't see that. Didn't play that. MMHHMM. MMHHMM. Ah. Feep. He dies? Spoiler alert. Just in case you were reading the book. Jesus died for you. That Brachiosaurus from Jurassic World. Fallen kingdom that was left on the island to die. That broke me. Man. Pretty sure it's the same Brachiosaurus from the original Jurassic Park 2. The Dogs in Where the Red Fern Grows. I was telling my kids about this book and started crying. My daughter laughed at me, then a few days later I found her reading the book and sobbing. We sat there and cried together over Old Dan and Little Anne. Breaking Bad spoilers. Hank. I even knew he was going to die. Because I accidentally read a spoiler. But I didn't read anything about when or how it would happen. Even knowing it was coming, I was not at all prepared for it. Glenn from TWD. His first line. Hey you. Dumbass. Yeah. You in the tank. Cozy in there? I use that all the time when I used to play Battlefield. Spider-Man in Infinity War. Just because Tom Holland sold the speep out of it. His acting was way too good there. I could feel the entire theater choking up as he was laying there saying I'm scared. I don't want to go. John Coffey in the Green Mile. How is this not higher? Heath Ledger in the Patriot. So we're all gonna pretend we didn't get our speep rocked as children when Ash turned to stone in Pokemon the first movie? In Who Framed Roger Rabbit, that cute little shoe Judge Doom puts in the dip. WTF is the other half of that shoe gonna do now? This. I always shed a tear for that little shoe. Rue Hunger Games. She was so young. The Red Wedding Game of Thrones. She was pregnant. Alice. Last of the Mohicans. I didn't expect it, then offhand I said to the screen, are you going to jump? I still feel the worst guilt over it. Wash. Serenity. I'm a leaf on the wind. Jack Dawson in Titanic. I must have been 5 or 6 years old and it was the first movie I ever saw. I watched it while I was eating lunch with my parents and I started crying about 5 minutes after the scene where he sinks down into the ocean. I was embarrassed for showing emotion about a movie and told my parents that I was crying because I didn't like the taste of my broccoli. Looking back, I realized the broccoli is something I should have been more ashamed of for crying about. Not sure what I was thinking there. Gale from Breaking Bad. He was such a sweet, trusting man. Broke my goddamn heart. The horse from The Never-Ending Story. No animal needs to die like that. God dang it. It's Artax, and now you made me think of that scene. Robb Stark and his pregnant queen. And Lady Catelyn Stark. All at the Red Wedding. It just came out of nowhere, and I'm not joking when I say I was white-faced and gasping for breath when the credits rolled for that episode because I'd been so invested in them and cheering them on. Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings. How the little pigs will grunt when they hear how the old boar suffered. Hodor. This right here. And Lady as well. Lady did absolutely nothing and got murdered for it. I'm still pissed. Dobby is a free elf. The only reason Dobby's death didn't feed me up more was because by that point I was totally hardened death by that point. Once they killed Hedwig, I knew all bets were off. I'd rather they killed Harry than Hedwig. Kikyoing from Stardust Crusaders. Died trying to warn Joseph about Dio's stand-ability. And that's Speep Deep. Also Caesar from Battle Tendency. Like any Zappelli. He died in a sacrificial manner. Marjorie. She would have been the best ruler of the 7 kingdoms and I'll die on that hill. Marjorie. The sparrows? PFFFFT. No biggie. Let them burn. Marjorie, however, was different. Oberyn Martell too. Bing Bong from Inside Out. I've seen the movie 100x and it was always kind of sad, but I watched it the other day while holding my newborn daughter and the whole movie hit me like a ton of bricks. My wife came down right as Bing Bong sacrificed himself so Joy could go save Riley, and pretty soon we both had the waterworks flowing. This is what I was going to say. Jesus God. I saw it in the theater with my kid who was 5 and extremely sensitive to emotional content and honestly, still is. Bless him. And I knew if he saw me crying at that point, it would permanently scar him. So I'm just weeping silently in the dark, holding his hand. And he leans in and whispers, "Mom. Is he dying?" And I choked out, "No. Honey. He's just fading away." He was scared of going to the dump for years afterward.